Greetings, dear brothers and sisters in Christ. I wish you a blessed day today on this Christmas Day, December 25th, 2011. Christ is in our midst. Let us glorify him. I'd like to share a story with you today for the Christmas season and for this day. More from a book titled More Missionary Stories to Tell. Looks like this. Published back in 1940 by the Missionary Education Movement of the United States and Canada. This title of this story is A Gift Should Be Given. High up on the range of mountains that frowns upon the Black Sea, a tiny village clings to the rocky wall behind it. From the plain below, a winding road wanders into the foothills to lose itself finally among the trees. As the road climbs, it becomes increasingly rough and narrow. At a certain point, carriages and even horses must be left behind, and the traveler must proceed by foot. Beyond the village, only the most experienced of guides can go. High above towers the huge granite pinnacle, which the plain dwellers said was inlaid with gold. They had watched it for centuries, gleaming in the afternoon sun. No one in all the memory of the mountain village had ever climbed the smooth-sided pinnacle to claim its gold. In the village dwelt the mountain guides and hunters, tall men with fearless eyes and strong, sure feet. Now and then a hunter wandered down to the plain below to sell his furs and his venison, but visitors came seldom to the village. One day a hunter returned from the plain in great excitement. "I bring you news," he cried as he reached the first house. "Come to the church." The hunter hurried through the village, and the long crooked street was soon a hubbub of sound. Windows were thrown up and people shouted, "What's the news? What has happened?" But the hunter only called, "Come and hear," and pressed on to the very center of the village, where stood the rough-hewn church. Doors opened, and men, women, and children poured out to follow the hurrying hunter. As the people reached the little rustic church, the priest came forward to meet them. "What is it, my son?" he asked as the hunter paused. "I have heard, Father, that the prince of the land is coming to our village." "Surely you have not heard aright," answered the little priest unbelievingly. "How should a great nobleman climb the mountain where not even the sturdiest of horses can make his way in safety?" "They swear it is true," persisted the hunter. "Never before has such a thing happened, but it will soon be the birthday of the prince, and he wants to spend it among the humblest of all his father's people. He will make his way to us afoot, if need be." The simple mountain folks were so surprised by the hunter's news that for a moment no one said a word. Then the priest spoke. "We must make him a welcome," he said. "Our village must look its best. Aspa, you must replace that stone from the roadway before your house. It has been missing for many a day, and we have stumbled as we passed. The road must be made smooth." "I will mend the broken hasp on my door," declared the oldest man in the village. "I had thought it did not matter, but it would be unsightly for the great one to look upon." "And I must look to my windows," declared the wife of the returning hunter. "They have not been cleaned for a long time. They must be clear and bright when the prince comes." For days thereafter the villagers worked from morning to night. Mothers washed and mended and cleaned. Fathers and big brothers repaired their homes, which lined the one little street that composed their village. They smoothed and straightened the road as best they could. They even climbed part way down the mountain to mark with fresh cuts the zigzag path by which the visiting prince must climb. At last everything seemed ready. Only 2 days and the visitor would be among them. "Is there nothing more we can do?" asked one. "We might bring gifts to welcome him," suggested the man who lived in the biggest and snuggest house. The others were silent. "We have no money to buy gifts, and nothing worthy of our own to give," they said at last, "nothing worthy of the Great One." "He probably drinks from a gold cup, and wears pearls for buttons on his most common clothes," declared one. "What can we give to such as he?" The little priest spoke then. "We can give him the most precious thing in all the world," he said. "We can give him our love. Some day he will be our ruler. He will command many, but may have few who will serve him with love. Then perhaps he will remember with joy the love we offered him. So take thought, offer the best you have with love, and your gift will be in all things perfect." After that the villagers were very busy. The best cook in the village made loaves of fresh sweet bread for her gift, and the love went in with the leaven. The trappers brought their choicest pelts and hung them in the church where the Great One would see them when he came. Some of the young wives brought bits of linen from their wedding chests. The young girls braided garlands of mountain flowers and trimmed the fronts of the houses where the Great One must pass. They filled the little church with flowers and with the sound of their happy laughter. Only one little house was bare and quiet. Kosta lived here with his little sister Marja. Marja was too little to reach the rafters to hang all the daisy garlands, and Kosta was a guide and was gone all day, so there were no flowers on their house. The night before the prince was to arrive, Kosta talked long and solemnly to Marja. "Little sister," he said, "I have planned a beautiful gift for the Great One." "What do you mean, brother?" asked Marja in surprise. Kosta turned a serious face to his sister. "I shall climb the pinnacle and bring from there a slab of gold," he said. "But, brother," Marja cried in fear, "no man has climbed the pinnacle. What if you should fall?" "I shall not fall," answered Kosta confidently. "While the others have worked in the village for the prince, I have carried my axe and my hempen rope up the mountain, and there I have practiced what I must do. Trust me, little sister, the Great One shall see that I too can bring him a gift of love." The next morning, bright and early, Kosta started forth. "Goodbye, little sister," he called. "Do not be frightened. You shall see how beautiful will be my gift for the prince. I shall lay it at the very foot of the altar." That day the village was the most joyous in the whole world. The people could not pass in the street without stopping to greet each other with happy words. "Good day, neighbor. Are you ready for the Great One?" "Ready indeed. My house is clean, my gift is waiting, and my heart is full of love," would be the joyous answer. To Marja, however, the sunny hours of the morning were filled with fear for Kosta and with sorrow for her own empty hands. At last she wrapped her ragged little shawl about her and started down the mountainside. She could not bear to join with the happy waiting villagers. She would climb down the path, hiding behind the boulders, and watch for the Great One by herself. "If I miss him," she said to herself, "I will listen for the church bell. It will ring when he arrives. I shall see him tomorrow. He will not expect a gift then." Hours passed, but no climber approached the village. Marja's sharp eyes grew weary of watching. The red sun had slipped far down in the west when Marja decided to start back to the village. It was turning bitterly cold, and the little shawl was all too thin in which to brave the mountain chill when darkness came. Where was the Great One? Had the hunter's message been wrong, or had it been only a joke of the plains folks? How disappointed Kosta would be. Suddenly Marja stopped in the middle of the trail. She heard a groan. What is it? Approaching carefully, she peeped around the side of a great rock and saw a man lying on his side on the moss. His face was white and drawn with pain, and his lips were blue with cold. His foot was crumpled up under him, and the ankle was swollen terribly. "Oh, you are hurt!" she cried pityingly. "And cold," answered the traveler with a twisted smile. "I have lain here in the damp moss for hours. You see, I lost my way." "I know that, sir," answered the child. "No one ever comes up here from the plains except—" She paused. "Except what, my child?" said the stranger gently. "Our prince was coming today," answered the child. "At least, we had thought so. But the villagers have waited all day for him. Now it is too late. Not even a great one can find the trail in the dark. Oh, how cold you are!" She took the chilled hand of the traveler in both her own and warmed them. "Your coat is torn almost to shreds." Half dragging him, she helped him to a dry stone where he might sit and lean against a gray boulder. "Wait here," she said. "I will call the men. They will help you." Then, drawing her thin shawl from her own shaking shoulders, she wrapped it about the stranger, and before he could say a word, she was gone. In a short time strong men came and lifted the traveler and bore him gently into their village. If they were disappointed, they did not show it. They carried him to the priest, who knew how to deal with such injuries. When the priest saw the traveler, he looked at him pityingly. He cut the tough fiber of the traveler's boot and bathed the injured foot in water and bound it with soothing herbs. "I feel I hinder you," protested the traveler. "The child told me you are expecting an important guest." "It must have been a joke of the plainsmen," answered the priest sadly, "but the villagers are prepared for a guest and will be ready to welcome you." Then he called to the men who had brought the traveler in from the forest. "Tell your neighbors that we have a guest who needs our love." "Father, the gifts we have ready," said one of the men in a low tone. "They are prepared with love and should be given. The great one is not coming, 'tis clear. Can we not then give them to this traveler with the love that is in our hearts?" "Tell the others, my son, what you would do," answered the priest with a happy light shining in his tired old eyes. "If they agree, then light the candles on the altar and ring the bell, for one greater than all has said that this which we would do, we shall be doing unto him. Tonight we can turn our thoughts to the Prince of Light." The traveler lay back on the couch and closed his eyes. There was a smile on his face, but he did not speak. There was a moment of quiet, and then the throng before the priest's home began to shout their welcome. The church bell rang its happy welcome through the dusk, and the people turned to the church with their gifts. Not even the priest saw the torn cloak of the stranger drop back, nor the chain of gold that he wore beneath. A youth came limping into the village. His clothes were sadly torn, and his hands were cut and bleeding. On his temple was a great bruise. He carried over his shoulder a great wedge of gray granite. "Costa, my brother!" cried Marja, and flew to him. "I climbed the pinnacle, little sister." Costa was breathless, breathing heavily. "Twice I fell from a crag. Often I was cut by the rough granite. The pinnacle is not smooth after all." "But you brought the gold, Costa. The prince did not come, but there was another who needed help sorely. We are going to bless him with our love and our gifts. Bring your gift into the church, brother. Hurry." But Costa shook his head. "It is not worthy, little sister. There was no gold. The pinnacle was only granite shining in the sun. This rock is worthless. I have only the love in my heart to give." He dropped the block of granite at the side of the road as he spoke. After the music and the prayers were over, quietly the people went outside. Through the open door the altar lights made a bright path for them. Suddenly the door of the priest's home opened, and the traveler came limping out. Gone was the tattered cloak. He stood before them, clad even as one of themselves, save that on his breast shone a great seal. It was the seal of the king of the land, and it shone in the light that streams across his path and theirs. "My people," said the prince to the waiting crowd, "your welcome has gladdened my heart, the more because you gave it to me, all unknown. I shall treasure your gifts and the love that you gave with them. But I have given to me today 2 other gifts that you have not seen." He took from his girdle a faded, ragged little shawl that every villager then recognized. "It is Marja's shawl," they cried. She wrapped it around me when she ran to bring help, answered the prince. Nothing before has ever kept me so warm. He smiled into Marge's startled eyes as he spoke. The other gift lies there in the road at your feet. I sat by the window, Costa, my friend, and I heard all that you said to your sister. I, too, have heard the legend of the plains, but I did not know there was one man in the whole world who would have faced death to bring to me the pinnacle's gold. He looked at the block of granite where it lay, and the people looked with him. As the light streamed through the open door and fell upon it, the gray block was once again tipped with gold and lay beautiful and solid in the dust of the roadway. This is the happiest day of my life, the visitor continued. I want to take some of its happiness away with me and leave some of it with you forever. This little shawl and your other gifts we will carry down the mountain when I go, but I have a gift for you also, and I will give it to you with love in my heart. It is the gift of a new church, for this little one is falling into decay. Into its altar I want you to place one of these most precious of all my gifts, Costa's granite stone from the mountain's pinnacle. Build it in and keep it to remind you of the love and service you will offer always to God and to your fellows. It shall be done, shouted the people. Costa's stone shall stand among us as long as its granite endures. And so the story goes. There stands to this day in an almost forgotten mountain village a simple church built of the mountain rocks. In the altar close to the foot stands Costa's stone, polished and beautiful. When the sun pours through the window upon it, the surface gleams like gold, and the people smile and remember. By Elizabeth Whitehouse.